Well, good evening,
Yeah,
everyone. This is Fred
that one's
Kaiser, and welcome to the 10th edition of Friday Night Light. This evening, we're in a session called Maury or Groupable, the sequel. You'll remember a few weeks ago, Worship Brother Rob LaFleur gave us an introduction to it, and we have a special treat tonight with special guest presenters. And this idea was, again, the brainchild of Worshipful Brother Rob. So we're privileged to have Brother Mark Menard, the founder and president of Naval Labs, and Sylva Menard, who is, among many other roles, both technical writer and creator of a lot of training videos that are produced. And their depth of knowledge on this software is incredibly deep, and we're especially grateful for their time this evening. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We are recording the session so that the session can be viewed by brothers on the Michigan Masons YouTube channel, which will be posted probably by about Tuesday. All participants are muted and their video is turned off except for the speaker to keep down the background noise. And we have both Q&A and chat functions that you probably see reflected to the bottom of your screen. And we'll have brothers Darren Thompson, Corey Curtis, Rob LaFleur monitoring that and trying to answer questions along the way. And there may be some questions that they'll hold for the end for Brother Mark and Sylva to answer at that time. We'll also be sending out a follow-up questionnaire following the session, as we have on the previous ones, and we'll also post it in the chat window there. We'd appreciate your feedback to make sure that these sessions are helpful, and if there are any additional subjects that you would like to see covered in the future. There's also a toll-free number and an email that's reflected in the chat box. If you happen to think of something afterwards and want to send us a message, please use that, and we'll get back to you just as quickly as we can. So it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Sylva Menard and Brother Mark Menard, who will lead us through Maury or Groupable, the sequel. Please take it away.
excellent. Thank you for the introduction. Just want to say thank you, folks, for being out here on a Friday evening. And I believe Rob's going to keep an eye on the questions, and if there's anything pertinent, he'll raise that to me. I'm going to basically stay concentrated on what I am demoing for you. And Rob asked me to go over kind of the basic overview of how M2 works, the interface, and how you can navigate the system. And then also looking at some of the basic financial functions around dues, because we're very quickly coming up on due season. So when you log into M2 as a lodge user, you're going to be greeted with the screen that we are looking at right here. This is the overview for your lodge. It has your members, and it starts out with the Master Masons, because those are generally your members that are in the full members that pay dues and are the ones that we're mostly concentrated on. But it also has your fellow crafts. It also has your EAs. Any inactive records and other records are also there. Across the top, we have some navigation to see various different things about your lodge. You can see your info about your officers, where your lodge meets, what we know about the latitude and longitude. If we happen to know that, that will be mapped so we can show you where we think the lodge is. Any related officers, like say your district deputy grand master, any other district officers that you have in your jurisdiction, as well as if you have any assistant secretaries, that type of thing, in the additional local users down here. We have an overview of recent activity, which gives you recent member events, recent receipts, and recent expenses. It's a very quick way you can get a really precise look at recent things that have happened. We've got a full overview of the income and expenses. This lodge is basically empty at the moment. We'll actually see some of this start to fill in as we do some work this evening. And so we'll bop back to the screen a couple times as we go. We also have a quick overview of any undeposited funds that lodge has. Then we've got the dues and arrears and reports and insights about your lodge. That one doesn't work in the demo. And I don't think the insights is going to work either. Oh, yeah, they do. So this is some insights about the membership history for your lodge. On the left-hand side, we have the navigational menu for you. This is very similar to the menu that was in the Maury Classic system that went across the top, There have been some minor changes made at this point, but it's by and large the same menu. The home will bring you back to the overview screen for your lodge. There is a directory that gives you the overview for the full jurisdiction of Michigan. You'd have your lodges, the districts, your regions, your Grand Lodge officers, committees, and search functionality. We also have your members menu, which is very similar to the members menu in Classic. We have renamed the lodge menu to My Lodge /local, and you're going to hear this concept of a local, and that's the local body, whether that's a lodge, a chapter, a council commandery, a club, I'm sure I'm missing some of them, but you get the idea. That's the local organization. And then the Grand Lodge or the group, that's the chartering body. Your financial menu is basically the same, except that the first 4 links here, these go to the new M2 screens for your income and expenses, undeposited funds, dues and arrears, and the new screen for member payments, which we'll get to once we set up dues. I'm going to go through the process of setting up a new year for dues, and it's very, very quick. It's almost so fast that I'm not sure that you're actually going to see the whole thing on the Zoom because it can go so quickly. So right here is the menu for managing the various functions that have to do with the dues process. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a new dues year. So I click on that, and the first thing it does is it shows me the current schedule for the various member types, what they are going to get billed. If these aren't right, hit cancel, and those member types are right here in the lower right-hand corner, and we'll just pretend that we had a $10 increase in dues for the upcoming year. So I'm going to just click the pencil, fill in the amount, click the update button, and that's going to change that going forward when I do the new dues billing. So with that, I look at these and all of those look pretty good. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I'm going to click the menu. I'm going to click add a new dues year. I get that table of the rates. It looks good to me. So I'm going to click select dues year. You're going to get a list of years for the current year and 1 future year. I'm setting up 2021. So I'm going to go ahead and select 2021. And then I'm going to click setup, and don't blink. All done. I've now set up the receivables for my 2021 dues. If I scroll here, you'll see I've got 2021, 2021, 2021, 2021. Those are the new entries that just got created for those members. I can also scroll down here and I can see my aged receivables. And you notice I have a new year for 2021. No one's paid. I've got 6 members who owe me, and these are the 6 members who owe dues for 2021. Now, if I click the menu for managing the dues, I can email and print dues notices. And here, this gives me a form where I can configure my dues notice. What's the due date? Where do I want the check sent to, that type of thing. What's the return address that I want to use? Once I've got that configured the way I want, I click next. That's going to give me a preview of what that will look like when it's printed. This is not a pixel perfect preview. It's the conceptual preview of what you're going to get when it is printed. If I click next, at this point, you can email dues notices, which will get sent out through the Our Lodge page system that will have special links on it for the members to come back and pay their dues. You can skip this or you can do this. If you're going to do it, you do have to put in a subject. And you have to put a little bit of a message so that there's some content in that email that goes out to them. Someone just said there are no due arrears in Michigan. That's correct. When you do this in Michigan, it'll wipe out the outstanding balances. You'll just have the current year. This is my demo system. It's not specifically set up for Michigan. I'm not going to do the email dues notices. And if you don't want to do that, you can always click the skip button. And this brings me to the print section. I can do members who owe dues. I could do all members. I could do a single member. I could do sort by postal code or name, one on top, one on the bottom of the page, 3 per page. We have the option to include a contact form so that you can get updated contact information sent back by your members. You can also include a custom message on the dues notice, and you can include a link to our lodge page. So if the person creates their account, they can do that way. But also, if we send out the email, if you do it by email, the link that goes to the members, they don't actually have to create a username and password to pay their dues. So it's easier if you do this by email rather than just sending out the link on the printed dues notice. But I'm going to go ahead here and click print. That's going to generate a PDF. So there are my notices along with the contact page for the member to update their information. They can send that back with the dues notice. So at that point, I've printed out my dues notices. I have the ability to put them in a envelope, double window envelope. We'll put the addresses in the appropriate place so that they show through the windows. And now that I've done that, I've got some payments coming in. And so I'm going to go to record payments, which is here on the menu. It is also over here under member payments, or if I click any dollar amount that is a link for any one of the members, that's also going to take me to the payment screen for that particular member. To record a payment in the payment history section, we click the plus, which will bring up the payment window. Pretty straightforward. This guy owes me $220. I put that in. He sent me a check and it was for dues. And I click the post button. And it takes out his outstanding dues amounts, puts in the payment for his dues. And that's basically how we go about paying dues. If I could search for another person, let's see, I think there's a Nidrauer. Yeah, Walter. Let's see if Walter owes anything. He does. Again, I can put in, he owes 130. Say he gave me cash at the meeting. It's for dues. I put that in. I'm also going to go find someone who owes me 1 year. I'll take this guy here, and I'm going to record a payment for him. And let's say he's paying ahead. He's going to pay next year also. When I try to post this out, the system is going to come back and say, hey, he only owes 130. I know that's for 2021. What's the other $130 for? And I can say that that's for 2022. Post that out, and now he's got a payment recorded for 2022. If for some reason your lodge increased the dues in 2022 that it was more than $130, he'll automatically get billed the balance for 2022 when you generate your receivables for 2022. So now I've got some funds that I've taken in. They're undeposited. If I go there on the financial menu to undeposited funds, we're going to see I've got those payments here. We give you a breakdown of each individual line item. We can see we've got 2021, 2022 for Carlton. We've got 2021 for Walter and 2020 for Charles here. We give you a breakdown by payer. We give you a breakdown by what the receipt type is. I've got some cash and some check. We also give you a breakdown for what income category was this for. If you're satisfied with this and this matches what you've got sitting on your desk, you can hit the plus button, which is going to take you to the screen to tabulate that and then confirm it, and that creates the deposit to the treasurer of that data. You can print out a report for that if you want. Also, on our income and expenses screen, we see now that we actually have some income. We have the $610 in dues. We've got 130 tendered in cash, 480 tendered in a check. We have those individual receipts listed here under our current receipts. And we have the deposit listed under the deposits here. I can click that and go to the details of that deposit should I ever need to revisit that to make any detailed information or changes on that. And I just want to check what else Rob wanted me to cover. I covered the dues year, recording the dues payments, cash to treasurer. One thing I would like to cover just to show you guys is on the budget screen, let's say I want to record a payment. I've got some building expenses and stuff. If I record a voucher here, I add a voucher into the system. What's today? Today is the 25th. Let's say we had them do some maintenance around the building. Hopefully I have a maintenance category. I allocate that $100 to the maintenance category and save that out. That saves my voucher. So now when I go look at my income and expenses, you'll actually see that I have some expenses now for the lodge. And if I come down here, I'll see my current vouchers. And then I can also see all of my current expense line items broken out in detail per expense category that was for. Also, just really quickly here, you'll notice at the bottom of all of these tables, we have some buttons here. We can click copy, which will copy all the data to your clipboard if you want to paste it into another program. I can also get the contents of this as an Excel spreadsheet. I can get it as a PDF file, or I can properly format that table and send it off to the printer to get printed. And now, if we have any questions, I think I've got some time for questions here. Do we have any questions come up in the chat, Rob?
Mark, this is Darren. We have one. Can you print a receipt for the member to give to them?
We don't print a receipt. Generally speaking, that's the dues card that the member gets. That's weird that I've been at this many years. That's the first time someone's asked me about a receipt.
Funny, I got asked that today. You can do it, Mark.
Did you get asked that?
You can do it.
How do you do it?
Print a dues notice with when they don't owe any money, and you can do an individual. That's the only way I know how to do it. So if Mark Baldwin paid $100 on his dues and he doesn't owe anything, you could still print a dues notice and say print individual that doesn't owe any money, and it'll print. We did it today.
Yeah, so that's actually a good one. So I could go here. This is not necessarily the fastest way to do it, but oh wait, we only have the I don't have a way to, oh, single member, there it is. And that way you can produce one that shows that he has a zero balance. That's one thing, but honestly, having the ability to say, come in here to a member's payment history you're giving us feature ideas. I could see something where we could have like a print receipt function here to print a receipt for that payment received, or probably better yet, email it to them if we have an email address. Okay, so there's one question here. You have to be either a worshipful master. Oh yes, you can have any number of assistant secretaries as you want to manage things. And that's done under my local and subordinate roles. And you can add the permissions for other users to use the system. And there is a video that covers how to do this. I'm not going to go into that right now. Actually, that's something I want to go through. Right here on the menu, we've got a full screen of videos that cover pretty much most of the functionality that is in the system. You can pretty much learn most anything that you need here. We're constantly releasing new videos, particularly if you're a lodge user, you're going to have a video. This video here covers the whole new dues system that was rolled out about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. So that video covers everything that's in that. Yeah. So someone says, no, it's not a 10-year step backward. We have a member portal for all of your users. All your members. Helps by actually lodge page. So up here in the member portal, this gives your members access to any posts made by the Grand Lodge, their district, lodges in their district, lodges that they belong to, the calendar for their area, what's coming up for all their lodge meetings, any nearby events around them. They have access to the member directory. They have access to their profile, what memberships they have, what their current due status is, if they have saved payment information, and they can update their contact information via the system right here, which all pushes back into the member system into Groupable. So we've got you covered with a member portal. Okay, any other questions? How does this handle a donation? Okay, if someone gives you a donation, let me just make sure that I have so I have a donation income category. So if I take a member payment from someone, I'm going to go to my dues and arrears, find someone who owes me some money. I'm going to record a payment for this member, and he owes me 130 in dues, and he also sent me $50 in the check as a donation for the new roof. I can post that out, and I have income in my dues income category, income in my donations. If I go to my undeposited funds, you'll see that my breakdown by category, I have 130 in dues and 50 in donations. Any other questions? Oh, Rob, you want me to show the printed profile? Okay, let me show you one of those. So this is what our printed profile looks like. got all the basic information, your Grand Lodge number, primary lodge, your standing, your initiated past and raise dates, your lodge affiliations, and it also has, for someone that has a more complete history that they've had offices held and stuff like that, that would also show up on the member profile. Eric, I would direct you to your Grand Lodge officers about the availability of the profile. Any other questions? Because we're coming right up on 6 o'clock. Rob, anything else you wanted me to address here?
Just briefly go into the directory, show them how to get to other lodges within the Grand Lodge, and then show how they can find the officers within that lodge.
Okay. So if you click on directory, which is the second thing on the menu, over on the right, we have the lodges, and most of our tables in the system have this feature where they are searchable like this. If I type a few keystrokes, I'll get any lodge that has those letters in it. And so if I click on any of them, I can also page through them, and I get the basic information about them. I can click in and see who the officers are. I can see the merger history if there is a merger history for that lodge. And I can go and view a member. And in Michigan, you guys actually have the ability to see the full member profile, even for members who don't belong to your lodge. Most of our jurisdictions have a redacted one, which is what you're seeing here. So in Michigan, you're going to see much more information than what you see on the screen here. We also have your districts, so you can dig into a district and see the officers for any one of the districts. I don't have those configured here in the demo. You can see the lodges that are in that district. If you have regions, we have those grouped into the regions. We also have the committees for your Grand Lodge. Actually, why don't I just hop on? I forget your guys can see everything, Rob. And if you don't mind, Rob, I'm gonna hop into your account, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so back to the directory. And let's see, committees. So we only have one committee set up. But if you had the different committees, you'd actually be able to see who the committee members are, chairman, members, etc. So these are all of your officers, your regions, your districts. I can dig into a district and see who the officers are. We give you the contact information so you can get a hold of anybody that you need to. That's kind of the purpose of this, is that we want to facilitate the communication. Anything else you want me to hit on? Because we've got about a minute.
I think we're good unless somebody else has got something.
Looks like we might have more of a discussion on this member profiles and so forth to take place after that. So we'll have some consulting on that. So any further questions of Brother Mark or for Sylva today? Well, thank you very much for taking the time, Mark and Sylva, for being with us.
Welcome.
Go ahead, sir. No, go ahead. Do you have a final comment?
Thank you very much. You're welcome. All good.
And thank you to the panelists for joining us this evening. We thank everybody who attended this evening and remind you of two things. First of all, the copy of this recording will be on both the Grand Lodge website under the Friday Night Light folder, as well as on the Michigan Masons channel for YouTube, probably by about Tuesday. And there is also a follow-up survey we'll be sending out to the attendees this evening and asking you to give us feedback on how to make these better. And it looks like we might have a few other questions that'll come in. If we haven't addressed something tonight, we'll be pulling down the Q&A and chat functions from this webinar, and we'll follow up with you to complete any unanswered questions. So, thanks, everybody.